This video, I'm just reviewing the comments of my channel, and I just want to talk again about the video I created 2 years ago. Ang title ng video is 3 misconceptions about evolution in Taglish. So there's like a very long exchange between me and a commenter dito sa video na to. And ang una pa nga niyang comment is this: if evolution is true, bakit may mga naiwang hindi nag-evolve? So, if you're an atheist, you're already laughing your ass off with this kind of question kasi we've been dealing with this kind of question many times na. So if evolution is true, bakit may mga naiwang hindi nag-evolve? And tanong pa niya, it takes millions of years. May alam akong unggoy, di pa umabot ng 100 years, patay na. Wala namang nabago sa katangian niya. So all throughout this conversation, ang nirespond ko lang talaga sa kanya is, alam mo kung bakit? Failure kasi education system ng Pinas. So I wasn't being sarcastic on that. I was literally saying that to him kasi yes, it's failure talaga ang education system ng Pinas. And he was being sly. Sabi pa nga niya, so kung failure, di kasali ka sa failure. You're a failure din. Resulta ng education system ng Philippines. And I said yes. I won't hide that fact. I am a result of the failure of education in the Philippines kasi all the things he said, all the questions he asked were my questions dati. Ang pagkakaintindi ko sa evolution bakit may mga naiwang mga unggoy pa din? That was me asking before. So hindi alien yung question niya when I was younger. Kasi yun din yung pagkakaintindi ko sa evolution na if it is true, then why are there still other species? Bakit may unggoy pa din if monkeys evolved, di ba? So sabi millions of years, 100 years lang naman ang age ng tao. So it is very laughable now to what we know about it, but that was me before. And that's because kulang ang tinuro sa atin. Either na-timingan tayo ng teacher na ang itinuro sa classroom combination ng evolution and creation, which is bawal. Hindi naman science ang creation. Pwede siyang ituro siguro sa theology or religious studies. Pero in science na subject, dapat evolution ang ituro. Kasi yun yung it's a scientific theory. So, diba? So, yun yung naalala ko na mga questions ko. Either I am dumb or failure ang pagturo sa atin. Kasi yun yung napagkaintindi ko sa theory of evolution. Ano pa? And then, sa haba-haba ng conversation namin, sa last part, sinabi niya na given na totoo yan lahat, okay, let's just say na totoo yung ipalagay natin na totoo yung evolution na yan or totoo yung mga mutation and reproduction and all, still hindi pa rin naman siya enough argument against God's existence, sabi niya. And I don't have faith to be an atheist. So ito kasi yung problema why you are having problems to learn new things. New things that are controversial ay ginagawa ninyong antagonistic sa kung ano yung pinaniniwalaan nyo. It is a cultish mentality. That's how cult works. If a cult leader doesn't want his followers, his members, to go outside, he will create demons within the perimeter para hindi talaga lalabas yung mga membros niya. And he has a lot of reasons why he doesn't want people to go out. Kasi alam niya na when his members learn about other societies, they will leave him. Kasi mas open, mas free ang outside world. So, do not be too antagonistic with ideas that are controversial to yours. This is not the point of me debunking misconceptions about science. This is not the point. Hindi naman ang point ko is, I'm showing you evolution. This is evidence against God. No. This is not evidence against God kasi alam ko naman na you have layers upon layers of explanations why you find evolution compatible with creation. Alam ko naman yun. So, ang gusto ko lang talaga is mawala ang mga misconceptions, not luring you into becoming an atheist because now you learn about evolution. No, that's not the mission here. That's not the goal here. The goal here is stuff now that are true now. You know about evolution, natanggal mo na yung mga malimong misconception about it, and you form your fucking conclusion. Make your own fucking conclusion after you learned the true things, after you have unlearned the false things. Make your own conclusion. That is the whole point of this channel. It's not me swaying you to become atheist or making you doubt about your religion or your God. It's me trying to stillman everything. I'm trying to stillman the atheist na, hey, eto yung mga arguments ng mga theist. I'm helping the theist to learn about science, to unlearn about the false things para alam niya paano niya harapin ang isang atheist. Hindi itong mga ganitong klase na question na why are there still monkeys? Let's evolve our arguments into something na ka-level mo na yung tao na nag-aral din sa mga topics na interested ka. So if you're interested about evolution but still don't have any ideas about it, learn it. Unlearn the false things that you knew and still be a theist. Wala namang problema. That's the whole point. No? I hope you understand na ito yung punto ng John the Atheist na channel, to debunk misconceptions and wrong ideas about science and atheism. And once they're debunked, form your own fucking conclusions. Stay where you are or move to another if that's an option for you. Diba? So I hope you understand that. This has hindi talaga intensyon ng channel na to na gawin kang atheist o magtawag ng mga newbies na maging atheist din. Fucking fix your education na ideas about stuff, about science. Alam ko na mali-mali yung ideas natin kasi isa ako sa biktima. I am struggling to unlearn things now. I'm 35 years old and I'm still learning a thing or two about science, and I am fascinated every day how wrong I was before. And ang mga realization ko, sinayang ko yung mga time na supposedly na frustrate ako sa time na hindi ko in-spend dati listening to my science teachers, listening to my chemistry teacher, my biology teacher. Kasi aside sa failure, no, yun, ang isang bata din na matigas ang ulo, hindi gusto makinig sa mga subjects, isa din ako dun. So, ang content ko actually is me trying to help my older self kasi I know a lot of people will go through the path that I did, na hindi nag-aral, hindi nag-focus sa studies, na timingan ng mga teachers na mga religiously inclined yung mga tinuturo. So, I am here now to let you know na, hey, some stuff that were taught to you way back are wrong. Please review, please revise, and then form your own conclusions. Be atheist all you want. I don't care. So, this is, evolution is not antagonistic, Kasi let me tell you a story. So, si Charles Darwin is a very religious na tao. As a young man, he was deeply religious and even intended to become a clergyman. So, while he was studying, while he was gathering evidences of the natural selection, medyo na-question niya yung belief niya. And pero hindi siya naging atheist. Ang pinaka malapit daw na stance ni Darwin before he died is an agnostic. And he was able to reconcile his evolutionary natural selection of views with science, with religion. So in a letter to Asa Gray, an American botanist and devout Christian, Darwin wrote, "I am inclined to look at everything as resulting from designed laws, with details, whether good or bad, left to working out of what we call chance." So Darwin still thinks that there's a divine creator, pero medyo na-shaken na yung ideas niya about Christianity. And we can't blame him, no? And also, he is not an atheist. He still believes that there's like a designer out there na nag-guide sa randomness and chance na nangyayari dito sa mundo, which is compatible sa natural selection of view. Nag-change man ang thoughts ni Darwin throughout his life, but he was able to reconcile. And that's what I said. You can be a theist and still be good at science. Wag mo namang ipag-away ang dalawa. That's not hindi ko naman yan intention dito. Hindi naman, hey, this is a science book. Kontra yan. No, you can try to reconcile it with your religion. Ang nangyari lang sa akin is, hindi ko siya mapag-reconcile. Kaya, and then a lot of things pa. And I'm sticking to a foundation that's, for me, that I find more solid and hindi nagsishake, which is ang foundation ng science. So ako na yun. That's me forming my own conclusion. Form your own conclusion naman. And so yun, si Darwin mismo ang gumawa ng natural selection. Siya mismo ang ending niya is ni-reconcile pa niya ang religion and science. Hindi niya ipinag-away, man. So, you as a theist, please learn stuff. Learn scientific stuff, even if that is Big Bang, if you think that's wrong, if you think that's against your God, learn about it kasi science yan. Science is being consistent with what they say are true. So, aralin mo ang science, aralin mo yung mga controversial na mga topics, Big Bang and evolution, and try to reconcile it later. Kasi mali yung ginagawa mo na ang mga ideas mo about it are the things that you just heard from your pari or your pastor or your friend na religious person. Mali yun na pag-learn about a certain topic. You actually have to read a book to learn about it. So, learn about it, know the right stuff about it, unlearn the things that you know were akala mo totoo, mali pala, unlearn those, and then form your own conclusion. Okay? So, eto pa. Paano ba to? So, Christians in general have varying degrees of way to reconcile evolution by natural selection with the scripture or with evolution. Merong Christians na literal talaga ang Genesis, kaya hindi talaga nila marireconcile ang pero meron ding iba na literal din sila, pero may mga tinatanggap sila na mga bits and pieces of the evolution, and they will try to reconcile it with their Genesis story. Meron ding ibang Christians na symbolic or metaphorical lang ang Genesis. And it's just a representation of God's creative power. It's not literally happening. It's not literally 6 days. It's not literally Adam and Eve. It's just a way of metaphorically showing God's creative power. And then how it was actually created is through the evolutionary process. That's how Christians, your fucking fellow Christians, interpret their own Bible in para ma-reconcile siya sa evolution. You can argue all day if you are one of those Christians that are that is a literalist, literal na nangyari ang Genesis. You can argue with your fellow Christians, but that is what is happening here. There are other Christians that are interpreting the Bible differently para mapasok ang evolution. Kasi evolution is a fact, and evolution by natural selection is the theory that explains that fact. So, para ang Bible, siguro, interpretation ka na to, siguro sa view ng mga Christian na yun, if we want to be true, then why are we pushing away this true thing if we are true? What we can do maybe is try to interpret our Bible differently to make it still true. Diba? Another approach to reconciling the Bible and evolution is to see them as complementary rather than contradictory. So some Christians view the Bible as revealing God's purpose and meaning behind creation, while the science is just providing the description of how things came about. So, pwede ka sa kung saan kang category sa Christian na nandito. May Christian na literalist na contradictory talaga ang evolution. Pwede kang doon ka. Pwede kang isang Christian na complementary pala sila, or pwede ka sa isang Christian na and in a way complementary din kasi para sa kanya hindi literal yung Genesis kundi it's just a representation or a metaphorical na story sa creative na power kuno ng Diyos. So wala dito sa tatlong kategory na to ang naghinder sa iyo to learn evolution. Learn it. There's a person nga dito sa comments na sinabi niya, bro, before you will be able to actually understand evolution in the general sense, you have to learn about mutation, reproduction, heredity, and natural selection. Kasi hindi naman ito, evolution hindi siya madaling i-explain in just one paragraph. Madali kasing i-explain talaga ang creation, di ba? It's very convenient. God made the world in 6 days. First niyang ginawa is ganito. And how did God make it? No, God is God. He has power. So I don't have to explain that to you. He used kumuha siya ng lupa, nagmold siya ng tao, kinuha niya yung rib ni Adam, and gumawa siya ng Eve. It's so simple. It can be said in one paragraph. But with science in general, it's not that easy. It's a complex thing to explain. Especially, iba yung words ng mga science people with our layman's na mga terms. So, it's a lot harder to understand. Kaya nga, may mga nag-aaral ng ilang years para maintindihan ito at para maituro sa iba. And then, another years na naman, paano ituro ito sa mga estudyante. So, where's that? So yun, it's not a hindrance, no. Evolution by natural selection is not a hindrance for you to become a Christian. You can still be a Christian and still be the very best person to explain how evolution works, and you will be able to still reconcile evolution with your own biblical story. Okay? So ganito kasi din ang ginawa ng Catholic Church. Ang Catholic Church in 1860, shortly after Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species, the Holy Office doon sa Vatican issued a statement condemning the idea of evolution as incompatible with Scripture. This was way back in 1860. In 1950, Pope Pius XII issued an encyclical called Humani Generis, which addressed the question of evolution. This is in 1950. Almost 100 years later, na sinabi ng office, ng the Holy Office, na it's incompatible. But 100 years later, sabi dito, while the document affirmed the church's belief in a special creation of human soul, it did not condemn the theory of evolution outright and allowed for the possibility of research in this area. So, but yes, I am still a creationist, but I am allowing, I am not condemning. So, di ba, parang nag-soften ang church 100 years later sa idea of evolution. And then 5 years later, in 1955, the Holy Office issued a statement indicating that Catholics were free to accept evolution as a valid scientific theory as long as they maintained that God was the ultimate cause of creation. Pwede, guys. Pwede mo namang wag mong kalabanin ang science. Wag mong gawing antagonistic ang science. It's beautiful. You have to learn it. It's not, hindi siya kalaban ng Diyos mo. Learn a thing or two about it and make it compatible with your religion para maging at peace ka naman. In 1996, 40 years later, Pope John Paul II gave a speech to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences in which he acknowledged the scientific evidence for evolution and affirmed that the theory was more than just a hypothesis. So, in 1955, siguro, it's just a hypothesis. In 1996, it is more than a hypothesis, sabi ni Pope John Paul. So talagang from condemning to accepting. And then in 2004, the International Theological Commission, a body of theologians appointed by the Vatican, issued a statement that affirmed the compatibility of evolution and faith, stating that the question of the origin of man in no way depends on a literal interpretation of Genesis. So, parang sinabi nila dito, balik ko, the question of the origin of man in no way depends on a literal interpretation of Genesis. So, it's like saying na don't interpret Genesis in a literal way kasi hindi naman yan yung origin of man. It's just a metaphorical way of showing God's creative abilities. Diba? In 2014, Pope Francis stated that the Big Bang Theory and evolution are consistent with Catholic teaching and that God is not a magician with a magic wand, but a creator who brought about the universe and life through natural processes. So overall, the Vatican's stance on evolution has become more accepting and nuanced over time, with official statements acknowledging the scientific evidence for evolution and allowing the possibility of God's involvement in the process. See what I mean? You can learn science, be the master of science, be a very genius about science, be a useful Filipino about science, and still be a Christian. That's the whole point of this channel, man. Walang atheist dito na gusto kang maging atheist. Wala akong content dito na will convert people to become atheist. Wala akong video dito that will try to convince you that you're wrong. Kasi I don't care if you're a religious person. You care about me being an atheist. That's the problem. Please don't care about me as well. Because I am living my life. I'm 35 years old now. And I'm still okay. I'm still consistent. I'm still an atheist. And I'm never gonna be a Christian anymore unless there's a new evidence for Christianity. Yun lang talaga ang magpapabago sa view ko about God. About a literal God with a literal power that can literally create universes. If there's a new evidence for it, I will believe it right away. Hindi ako matigas ang ulo na talagang ang gusto ko lang is kumontra. Kukontra ako sa mga bagay na I find not convincing. Kukontra talaga ako sa mga bagay na I see as wrong. 'Di ba? If there are teachings that I see are wrong, I will try to not wrong in a sense, but not in its optimum na morality. I will try to do things my own way na I find are morally better than what you are doing right now. So for example, there are people with different moral values when it comes to politics. They will say na, hey, I'm voting Duterte because pumapatay talaga siya ng tao without fucking due process. I'm not gonna do that because I think I am morally superior than you. I have a better kind of candidate that deals with problems in a more humane way and in a more smarter way. That will solve problems in the long run. Hindi dependent sa isang leader ang pagkawala ng drugs. Ang mga tao ngayon, when I talk to them, kumusta ang drugs? Bumalik na. Gusto daw nilang ibalik si Duterte. That's fucked up. We have only 6 years for our leaders and you're dependent with a person to solve problems. You should be dependent with processes and systems. Gusto mong iupo yung tao na pag mawala na siya, solve na talaga ang problema kasi may ginawa siyang sistema that will propagate through time. Ang pinaupo mo is dependent ka sa tao kasi siya yung tagapatay ng mga drug addicts eh. So, I'm ranting now with politics, but that's one of the examples of me trying to find better morals and not relying on the morality of a book that was created many thousands of years ago. Kasi for me, time may nag-i-evolve talaga ang morality natin through time. It could be na nag-aaway tayo ngayon sa same-sex marriage, but many years later, hindi na magbabago pa lang ang idea natin about marriage. Suddenly, maisip natin na it's nonsense to legally bind couples. It's immoral to legally bind couples, whether they are straight or not. We don't know what the future will bring. But that's morality. Morality will change through time. Kasi inimbento natin yung tao ang gumawa nun. That's for us. It's for our own good. Kaya gumawa tayo ng ganoon. Diba? So, that's it. Thank you and see you.